I'm Sky Mahler. I'm a diligent, successful high school student in Manhattan. I'm a black belt in Taekwondo. I'm known for the fierce hot pink streaks in my hair. I aspire to be a kindergarten teacher, and I'm dyslexic. I first realized I had difficulty reading when I had to do a whole bunch of extra work to practice the sounds of that all the letters made and pronouncing words. I was concentrating and I was trying to read the words on the page, but I just couldn't do it, and I'd get really frustrated and run out of the room in tears. In first grade, when we had writing assignments, I'd always try to think of a story to write about, but I could never get the words out and get the sentences there. So I'd really try to impress my teachers, but I felt like I still wasn't good enough. I was really upset and frustrated when all my friends were on the second or even third Harry Potter book, and I only got to the fourth page of the first one and got stuck on the word donut. I thought, what's wrong with me? Why can't I read like all my friends? After second grade, my parents had me tested, and we learned that I was dyslexic.
Overcoming Dyslexia by Dr. Sally Shaywitz educated my entire family about this learning disability.
When I found out that I was dyslexic and then I learned what it was and understood what it was, I was sort of happy and relieved to know that there was an actual name for what I was going through and what I felt. And then I understood that other kids were going through the same thing I was. I have tried to work on my reading. I've used different programs like Great Leaps. I've had to do timed reading. I've used Crack the Code, Reading from Scratch, or in Gillingham. But all of them, although they helped me decode the words, they never really helped me become a fluent reader. When I was growing up and I knew I had dyslexia, I'd still always have the struggle of trying to get my work done. And even in class, if we had a reading assignment, I would hear everyone else's pages flipping, and they would already be on the questions, while I was still only on the first paragraph. And doing my homework took twice as long, 3 times as long as my friends. And I was so discouraged and frustrated, I didn't really know how to deal with it. But in 4th grade, my teacher, Miss Pollock, told me about Learning Ally, and that literally changed my life. Learning Ally is a non-profit organization that serves more than 300,000 students and adults, all of whom cannot read standard print due to blindness, visual impairment, dyslexia, and other print disabilities. More than 6,000 volunteers help to record and process Learning Ally's ever-increasing collection of over 75,000 digitally recorded textbooks and literary titles, downloadable and accessible on mainstream devices. Learning Ally has classic novels, popular young adult series, but most importantly textbooks. And this year alone I was able to download my history textbook, my science textbook, Jane Eyre, Romeo and Juliet, Canterbury Tales. So they just have a wide variety that I can easily download and listen to. If I didn't have Learning Ally, I'd have to rely on my mom to read everything, all my assignments to me. But, I want to feel independent, and I can do that with Learning Ally. I feel confident and capable. I can easily keep up with my classmates. And I want other kids to feel empowered just the way I did. Over the past 4 years, my family and I have raised thousands of dollars for Learning Ally. But now, I'm ready to kick it up a notch, set my own goals, and launch the Paco Project. I'd like to raise a minimum of $25,000 to provide Learning Ally services to students right here in New York City. I've had so much success using Learning Ally. I feel the need to share it with others. Up to 85% of juvenile inmates are functionally illiterate, which means they can't read above a 3rd grade level. Could you imagine how much more confident and capable they could have been in school if they had had access to Learning Ally? So I'm naming this project after my grandfather, Leo Corey, who we call Paco. This is him. Hi, Paco.
How are we doing?
Good. So, Paco was born in 1925, and growing up, he had difficulty reading.
And ever since I started kindergarten, I had trouble reading. When I went to high school, one English teacher called on me to stand up to read, and I didn't. I just sat there. And I was pretty good at doing my homework. It took me a little longer to do it, but I never told anyone I had a reading disability. Even all the years I worked for the power company, I never told anyone. I never told Eleanor, my wife, that I couldn't or had difficulty reading. And when your mother had you tested and came up with that, I finally told Eleanor, that must be what's wrong with me. Because I just can't read. I can't pronounce words and whatnot. And I'm a terrible speller.
Paco served in the Navy in both World War II and Korea. He went on to have a very successful career at the New England Power Company, but his reading difficulties were always there to haunt him.
So I went down to North Andover, down near Boston, to attend this 10-day session. And it was for, I had vice presidents from the company there. And my greatest fear was that they'll call upon me to get up the blackboard and summarize that. That means that I have to spell these words that I don't know how to spell. And it got to be, finally after the 10 days was up and I got through it all, I decided when I was driving home that next day that, by golly, I'm going to retire. And I wouldn't have to have that stare me in the face at one of these days.
I think Paco is very brave to finally, after 80 years, talk about his difficulties.
To tell you the truth, I thought I was stupid. And because I had that feeling, I never told anyone. I was mad at myself. I'm sure my brother Don knew, but him and I always kept a lot of good secrets. We never told anybody. And it was very sad that since I found out about the sky and that I apparently had it all these years and I felt so bad about myself, now I don't. I feel great. There's things that I know I have reading difficulties, but other than that, I'm good at everything else that I do. So, thank you, Sky.
Dyslexic students are struggling in school and feel the way Paco felt, ashamed and unsure. I'm one of the lucky dyslexic kids who was diagnosed and able to get support, but there are still thousands of students in New York City with dyslexia and other print disabilities whose lives would be changed because of Learning Ally. Learning Ally is a great first step in meeting dyslexia head-on. They have all these resources to help make dyslexic students feel confident, capable, and empowered. All the money I raised through the Paco Project is going to be used by Learning Ally to benefit students and schools in New York City. Please help me make a difference by supporting the Paco Project.